Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going over the latest Colourpop collection, which I personally think deserves more hype. I feel like not many people are reviewing this one or talking about it, and I actually think it's really good. So we're going over their new Heavy Petal collection to kind of introduce spring. It is officially March and spring is just around the corner. So let's go ahead and get into this collection. This is available already on Colourpop's website. So wanted to first pull out the palette here. I think this packaging is so fun. And then you have your colors on the inside, and I feel like they've done maybe something similar to this in the past, but I really like the tones in here. You have some fun purples, there is some really soft shifty metallics in here, also some warm copper and a little bit of gold tones going on. This is a color scheme that I personally really like, and I feel like it's a colorful one, but it's also something you can go more natural with. So I feel like it's more of a natural, colorful palette, if that makes sense. You can get this one for $18. I'm gonna go ahead and throw the swatches in here. It swatched really beautifully, and I also feel like it performed well on the eyes, which we'll get into with our little try on. So really stunning palette in my opinion, and I do think it deserves some more hype here. There is a few more other things in this launch as well. I thought this was a fun addition. They did add a little rose face milk in here. Now everything has like fun colorful boxes, but the actual product packaging is kind of just their basic packaging besides the eyeshadow palette. But yeah, we got the rose face milk. You can use this as a little serum, or you could use it as, you know, a hydrating primer before your foundation. And you can just see how soft and glowy it leaves the skin, and it's more of a gel consistency, so it's not going to be overly oily or dewy or anything like that. We do have 4 Cheek Dew blushes in this line, which is kind of a fun addition in a spring collection. These are not my favorite blush formulas. I have reviewed these a couple times on my channel, but I just wish that these had more pigmentation to them. So usually if I am using one of these, I'll go for like the darkest color just to add more pigment, because they are just so natural on the cheeks, which I know some people like if you're into a little no makeup, but they do offer like a really pretty glow to the skin. It's not overly dewy, but they do have just a little bit of luminosity to them, not like a shimmer, but just like a wet look. The shades we have in the Cheek Dews are Flower Delivery, Dream Garden, Spring Flush, and Petal Up. I did also want to mention these Cheek Dews have a new pearl formula. So it says that they're supposed to be infused with shimmering pearl to leave a more luminous finish than the previous Cheek Dews. And then lastly in the collection, there is 4 Luxe lipstick shades. I do really like this formula from Colourpop. They are ultra pigmented and super creamy on the lips, very comfortable. It's a nice formula, like it feels high end for a really good price. Shades are Pink Bouquet, Fleur You, Bloom Time, and then Tulip Season. And that is a look at this full collection. The eyeshadow palette in particular is going to be available at Ulta probably soon. I'm not exactly sure when. I don't think the other products are, but definitely you will be able to find this palette. It seems like more and more of their palettes are coming to Ulta. But that's an overview of everything with swatches. So now I'm going to show you guys how I did this look and my kind of first impressions trying out all the products. Alright guys, so let's dive into the Heavy Petal palette here. I think the first shade I want to use is going to be this peony color, which is like a rosy glittery matte. And we'll just place this here in the crease. Has a little bit of powder cook up in the pan, but it's really bright, I would say, and pigmented on the eyes. Next, we're going to take the shade Freshly Cut, and I'm going to also place that in the crease. Let me do a little bit of this Feelin' Grounded in the outer corner. It seems like a pretty color. You're definitely not going to get a ton of depth with this one, but I still think it looks nice. But I am going to deepen that up with the Potting Mix color too, this brown, just right over top of that. And this will really add some nice depth. I'm gonna go ahead and mix these 2 colors as well on the lower lash line. Okay, next color I want to use is this one. This is the color I'm most drawn to in the palette for shimmer. This is called So Sprung. So I thought it would be maybe a little bit more silvery tone, but it's actually kind of more of a dirty gold In the inner corner, I want to use this like purple called Hyacinth. So I'm spreading this on my brush, and then I am going to go ahead and spray this with some setting spray. You could use water, whatever you have. And I'm going to pop this in the inner portion. And I'm just kind of gonna blend that lightly into the rest of the shadow too, just so it all blends together. Okay, so here's the eyes. I did put on some bronzer and I did a little half lash here. I absolutely loved the BK Beauty half lashes that I had on. I think it was a couple videos ago, but I actually found this like giant pack on Amazon. I'll link it down below, but these are just so easy to plop on the eyes. And if you have smaller eyes like me, I feel like they just are perfect. That you don't have to worry about them coming up on the edges, and they just really complete the look. I just added like a little bit of liquid liner in the inner corners and it looks really good. So been loving these. For our blush, I'm gonna go ahead and use this one from the collection. This is the Cheek Dew Serum Blush in Dream Garden. And I do personally like to use brushes with these. I'm gonna use this more firm one. This is just a Sigma F47. And these Cheek Dews, if you guys haven't tried them from Colourpop, are honestly pretty natural. They aren't necessarily my favorite blush formula because I do wish they were a little bit more pigmented. Let's see if we can build this color though. I usually with these will go for the darker ones of the collection just because those will show up a little bit better, but you can see this is just very, very subtle. And then lastly, we'll move on to lips. I'm gonna go in with the Colourpop Hella Lip Liner. We'll go ahead and fill that in with this lipstick from the collection. This is the Luxe lipstick in Pink Bouquet. And here's the final look with the collection. Let's go ahead and get into my thoughts on everything we tried today. So here is my thoughts on this collection so far. Like I mentioned in the beginning, I do think this is kind of an underrated collection. I just don't feel like many people are going to be talking about it, but I feel like this palette is actually such a good one. I feel like I've been a little bit more disappointed in the last couple of Colourpop palette launches. Formula-wise, I just wasn't obsessed. Color story, everything, but I thought this one performed really well for me. I thought the mattes were great and pigmented and the shimmers were really soft and creamy. I think this palette is a very good one. I think it's a winner for me. I would recommend picking this one up. I think it's so fun for spring, especially if you like more of those peachy and purple tones. Now, I do kind of think this one reminds me of one of my old favorites, which is the So Very Lovely palette, which I'll insert here. I try not to keep too many of my super old Colourpop palettes, but that one was so good, and I think this one's kind of like a nice updated version of that one, but I can definitely see some similarities there. If you like these tones but you're maybe looking for a few more options or just something bigger all around, It's a Mood, I feel like definitely has some of these tones in it. I feel like this one's a little bit more brighter peaches, but this one's a little bit deeper in tone, but you kind of get a similar vibe. And if you really liked the Sailor Moon palette, I feel like this one also has kind of a similar vibe to that, but maybe just a little bit deeper in tone. So those are just a few comparisons with this one. I do think it's kind of dupeable because I do think this is a popular color scheme that Colourpop likes to do within their palettes. As far as the Cheek Dews go, and this apparently new formula that I didn't realize until I read about it, that they have this more pearl finish. I can see that it does have a little bit more luminosity, like my face looks just a little bit more glowy, but I didn't notice a huge difference right away. I am glad that it wasn't like super dewy or anything like that, but I feel like the difference is just so subtle. I'm just really not a huge fan of these. I just feel like they need to have more pigment to them personally. Let me know if you guys do like these. I still feel like my favorite Colourpop blush formula is either their powder blushes or their Super Shock Cheeks. Those just offer more pigment for me with still a nice kind of creamy finish. I do think the lipsticks are really nice though here. I like that they have some more neutral shades, a little bit more rosy leaning, and even with having so many rosy pinks in the collection, I do feel like they all still looked different from each other. And then as far as the face milk goes, they have tons of different scents in these. So if you like the kind of finish that it gives, they're definitely worth checking out if you guys don't want like a rose scent. I know they have other ones, like I've seen them have, I think pineapple before, avocado, so they have a ton of different options. But I think that kind of wraps up this video here, going over the new Heavy Petal collection. Definitely the palette is the big winner for me. I definitely think this one is worth picking up. Again, I'll have my links down below. You can use my code 5LeahJanae on Colourpop's site to save on any of their new stuff. I'm excited to see what other collections and fun collabs they may be doing this spring. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys.